Good morning, and welcome to Dawn. I want to just confirm, can you hear me? Can you see me? Um, my stream, my stream is looking a bit shaky from what I can see here. Somebody tell me how I am looking. Um, yeah, I seem to have gone off. Okay, the video is unclear. I'm seeing that. Um, Tom, is it still shaky? Maybe I need to. Because the still says loud and clear, but I'm curious. Um, I don't want to rattle away and then discover that we could have had a better stream. Um, uh, I'm hearing all good. Okay. If you're sure that we're all good, then I'll continue. Um, I'm being asked to restart, so maybe I should do that. So bear with me. I'm going to try and restart this just to make sure I give you the best that I possibly can. Okay, don't go anywhere. I'll be. All right, I've tried to restart this. Let's see if we will have a better response. Somebody help me. How are we? How are we looking now? How are we looking now? Um, Somebody please let me know. Is this better? I think this is better. Do you want to confirm? Anybody wants to confirm for me? Ah, I see much better now. Much better now. Okay, let me try and disconnect something here. Okay, I think I think we can continue. Thank you for staying. I do apologize. Sometimes the connection just gives us tries to interfere. All right, remember we are on the 7 life lessons of Jesus. We have looked at the place of preparation. That was a big one. We looked at how Jesus managed pressure and did not allow pressure to change him. We've also addressed quite a few other things. If you've missed it, please go back and you need to watch it. It will strengthen you. It will shape in some thoughts in your consciousness. Today I want to deal with something very, very pivotal, something very, very core to our existence. I want us to examine how Jesus showed us emotional intelligence. Jesus was able to manage his emotions. Someone is saying it's good, it's looking like it's not so good on my end, but if you say it's good, I'm just going to continue, okay? Jesus was able to manage his emotions, and because of it, it made him an extraordinary leader. Let me say it again. Jesus showed us the ability to manage his emotions, and it made him subsequently an extraordinary leader. Let me give you an example of how he did that for us. I think I've mentioned this before, and I think I have done something called curating your emotions before. It's several months ago, maybe even last year. If you check on this YouTube channel, you will find it. And if you will watch it, it will give you a bit more information because I just want to add on to that. All right. In Matthew 14:10 to 14, listen to this scripture. And he sent and beheaded John in the prison. This John the Baptist, he had just been beheaded, okay? And his head was brought in a charger and given to the damsel, and she brought it to her mother. And his disciples came and took up the body and buried it and went and told Jesus. When Jesus heard of it, listen, John the Baptist was Jesus's cousin, first cousin. John the Baptist was also an individual who was the core person and the first person to affirm him as the Messiah. So John the Baptist was the first person to know and affirm him, other than Mary, of course, that this was the Messiah from God. And so John the Baptist occupied a very deep place in the heart of Jesus. When Jesus heard of it, he departed thence by ship into a desert place apart. You can guess what he wanted to do. He departed there so that he could mourn, so that he could process what he was feeling. And when the people had heard thereof, they followed him on foot out of the cities. And Jesus went forth and saw a great multitude and was moved with compassion toward them, and he healed their sick. That's very important. So Jesus needed to mourn the death of his cousin, right? And so he separated from everybody, like we are prone to do, separated from everybody to try and mourn the death of his cousin. The next thing, he gets there, and the people had gone ahead of him and they were waiting for him to minister to them. Now Jesus could have thrown his toys out of the court. Remember, he was having deep emotions. He was feeling like something had gone wrong. He knew that people around him will probably also be asking questions. John the Baptist's disciples were already asking questions. Why didn't Jesus heal and deliver John the Baptist? I thought Jesus and John the Baptist had something going. Why didn't Jesus help John the Baptist? There would have been a lot of thought that would have been going there. But Jesus, when he got there and he saw the need that was there, he took what he was feeling, compartmentalized it, addressed what was supposed to be addressed. Because if you read the story, that was when he multiplied the 5 loaves and the 2 fish. He taught them, he healed them, he fed them. When he was done with that, he then asked the people to leave and told his disciples, oh, Jesus was very smart there. Because if he had asked the people to leave and he himself was not leaving, they would not have left. They were ready to stay with him afterward. He was healing them, he was feeding them. Where else should they go? So he asked them to leave, told his disciples to leave. The people, on seeing his disciples leaving, assumed Jesus was leaving with them. And so they left and Jesus stayed behind. Jesus did not use work to mask his emotions, his grief, and his pain. No, Jesus did the work. When the work was over, he created the time and the space for him to feel the emotions of mourning that was going on his inside. When you are able to manage your emotions, hear me, you become an exceptional leader. It is the management of emotions that keeps you disciplined. Do you know what discipline is about? Discipline is your ability to stay consistent on a path, to stay gritty on a path, irrespective of the circumstances around you. And the only way you can become phenomenal in discipline is because you have learned to manage your emotions. The reason why you will be phenomenal in the workplace and you will stop making careless decisions is because you are able to manage your emotions. The reason why you will be phenomenal in your marriage and you are able to sustain your marriage for the most part is because of your ability to manage your emotions. The reason why you will raise your children to become champions in life is because you are able to manage your emotions. The management of our emotions has actually been found to even carry a greater weight than your intelligence. See, there is your intelligence quotient and then there is your emotional quotient. It has been discovered that individuals who have high emotional quotient, even if they are not as intelligent, they end up leading and making a lot more impact and leaving in their wake a lot more people that have been groomed and grown by them a stronger legacy than those who merely had in an intelligence quotient. Your ability to draw from the Spirit of God, to manage to be conscious of what you are feeling and to manage your expression of that feeling is so paramount. There are certain levels of leadership that you will not be allowed into. Hear what I'm saying? There are certain levels of leadership you will not be allowed into unless you buy your way in there, or unless you come with an exceptional idea and you had enough sense to sign a contract to compel them to put you there. You will not be allowed there if you do not have a strong emotional quotient. This is one of the reasons why, even after you have done this and you have done that, and you have showed them that you are intelligent enough, they do a psychometric test. And depending on your level of leadership, that test is to actually determine how stable you will be under pressure. Since when we talk about emotional intelligence, we're talking about a stability under pressure. Another reason why this issue of emotional intelligence is so important is because people who have high emotional intelligence are willing to confront difficult situations. I'm not talking about they blow a fuse and once something doesn't go their way, they confront it, they are shouting, they're yelling. No, we're talking about the ability and the willingness not to bury things under the carpet. So, for example, if you have issues at home, issues with your child, issues at work, and you keep burying it, watch this, you are weak emotionally. And the concern with that is it will deprive you of being able to become authentic, being able to challenge difficult circumstances, being able to confront and curate and have difficult conversations actually strengthens your authenticity, because every time we bury something goes wrong and we don't address it, we say I will do it later, you bury it, you weaken your capacity. Look at the case of Jesus and Peter. Peter had just said, you are the Messiah, Son of the living God. Jesus had even just changed the name of Peter and said, you will no longer be called Cephas, you will be called Peter, which means the rock. I call you a rock. Okay, that was, you will no longer be called Simon, you will be called Cephas, which by translation or transliteration means Peter, which means the rock. A few moments later, Peter takes Jesus aside and tells Jesus, you will not go to the cross. I don't think you will go to the cross. Stop telling people you will go to the cross. And guess Jesus's response. Jesus did not ignore it. Jesus did not say, let me not hurt his emotions. Jesus said to him, get thee behind me, Satan. In saying so, one would have looked at it and said, Jesus, that was a bit harsh. No, you don't get it. Jesus used his emotions as a tool. Hear me? Jesus used his emotions as a tool. A great man put it this way. He said, you don't tell me what to feel. My emotions don't tell me what to feel. I tell my emotions what to feel. As ordinary and simplistic as that might sound, that is so profound. Jesus was able to say to Peter, get thee behind me. But after he addressed that situation, he still related with Peter in such a way that Peter understood that this address was only to confront this situation. It was not, it had not changed Jesus' overall impression of Peter. Do you know what some of us would have done at that point? After addressing that situation, we will mark Peter and we will let Peter know consistently for an extended period of time that you messed up here and my eye is on you. No, he addressed that situation, and from his follow-up reactions and response to Peter, Peter could tell, okay, I messed up here, but I am still fine with the Lord. The Lord has not cast me away. That's emotional intelligence. I will never forget when I first started learning how to drive. My father was sitting on my left hand side. You see, back in Nigeria, we drive on the right hand. My father was, oh, we drive on the, I can't even remember, but it's opposite to how we drive here. And he was sitting there, and the next thing, I made a mistake. I missed my turn. And he said, turn here. And I didn't look at my mirror. I slammed my brakes, turned into the lane. Of course, there was a car coming behind me. God saved our lives. And the car had to swerve to the other side. And the drivers looked at me. There were two men, and they rained insults as they slowly drove past me. My father leaned over me and responded to them. I'm not advocating road rage. And he responded to them and rained insults on them as well. And as soon as they drove past, my father sat back down and was smiling. I looked at him and I said, you are smiling. Aren't you angry? He laughed. He said, no, I'm not angry. I'm not angry. I knew that because of your salvation, you are not going to respond to those people. So I responded for you. And he moved on. I was moved by that. For him, his response was simply because he felt that was the response that was needed, right or wrong. But he felt that was the response that was needed. He gave that response and he moved back and life continued. I had seen over the years, I have seen him do that over and over again. I have seen him, I remember, I will never forget this. A guy came over to our house when we were growing up to fix the freezer. And when the guy came, he did a terrible job. My mom had to call him back, and my dad was in the lounge with me, and we could hear my mom having a conversation with the guy. And we could see that the guy was trying to over explain himself, basically trying to make it seem as if he did nothing wrong. And my dad could hear my mom was beginning to capitulate. My mom was beginning to almost listen to the nonsense that he was saying. My dad gets up, goes out there, raises his voice, puts the guy in his place, addresses the situation, makes the guy take it back to be fixed without us having to pay anything, and then comes back in, sits down, and he's watching his soccer. I look at him. Look, I followed him outside, followed him back in, and I look at him. He's watching his soccer. No, he was watching tennis. And I say to him, are you still angry? And he says, no, I wasn't even angry when I went outside. I just went outside and I did what I did so that he will know that what he was doing was wrong and he will address the situation. And so I'm fine. I've done that. And he meant it. He was fine. The ability to curate his emotions. Do you know it is the reason why I later discovered he had been able to manage his finances. Your emotional intelligence will address how you manage your money. It will address so many aspects of your life. You and I need to learn from Jesus and understand that your emotion is a tool and must be used as a tool. Let me close with this. Do you know if external circumstances can always change your mood, can always alter your mood? You send a message to the world, not just the people, to the world around you, that it controls you. And the devil can see, if I can change this around this individual, I will alter the ability for that day to accomplish their purpose. And the enemy will keep pressing your buttons and pressing your buttons. You need to change the message you are sending to the world. Hear what I'm saying? You and I need to change the message we are sending to the world. When somebody cuts you in traffic and you feel that desire to respond, saints, it makes more sense not just because you are a believer, primarily actually because you are a believer and your nature is different, but also because when you choose not to respond, you say to your system, you do not control me, you do not determine what I do, I determine by my spirit what I do. The more you do that, the more you begin to show control, the more you begin to say to the world around you, I, I happen to you. You do not happen to me. Saints, life is terrible when it happens to you. You produce a lot more out of life when you begin to happen to life. Oh, when I give you details about the masterclass coming, you have to be there. When you begin to happen to life, it will look like your life is just a lot easier than everybody else's. And people will marvel and they'll say, it just looks like you never have serious challenges. It is because you have learned to send the right code to the world around you. Saints of God, manage your emotions. Your emotions are supposed to be a tool. When you are going through a bad experience, do you throw everything out of the window? Do you stop serving in church? Do you always call in to say today's a bad day, I can't work? Do you put all your emotions out on Facebook? Saints, you will limit how high people will feel they can elevate you in your place of work when they discover, and you will think no one can see. No, when they discover that you are weak in managing your emotions, because it means you will fail, you will buckle under pressure. Inconsistency is usually a sign that we are unable to manage the flurry of emotions that is going on our inside. Saints of God, this that you are hearing now will save your marriage. It will help you raise your children better. It will put more money in your hands. It will control you in the marketplace. It will elevate you there. It will put a great measure of discipline in the way you walk with God. It will grow you spiritually. Saints, like Jesus, learn how to compartmentalize. Learn how to put the emotion that you are feeling here, assume another emotion to deal with the matter here, and then when that matter is dealt with, pick up this one if necessary, and then work through it. You will become a vessel unto honor. And really, look, there's so much more I could say about this. But let me close with this scripture. Proverbs 25:28. It says, he that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls. It's like a city. Once you have no control over that, you are like a city that is broken down without walls. Do you know what that means? It means external forces can come and determine your productivity, determine your state of mind. External circumstances control you. And when that is the case, you are like a ship that will be tossed to and fro. Life is terrible to be lived like that. I remember something my father said. Over time, I realized he might have read it somewhere. My father said, ensure that at every point in time, you are conscious of how you are feeling. Do you know emotions are a product of thought? And the more you stay in any emotion, good or bad, the more you entrench a thought. If the thought If the emotion is negative, then the thought is negative. The more you stay having that negative emotional experience, the more you entrench in negative thought. The more you entrench in negative thought, the more you create a negative experience. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. I say to you today, like Jesus, like the son of God or daughter of God that you are, manage your emotions. Forgive where you need to forgive. Let it go where you need to let it go. Move on where you need to move on. Confront what you need to confront. Treat your emotions as a tool, and the world will change and will serve you. Oh, the world, like a waiter, will begin to serve your life and destiny. Do you know that the primary difference between a high flyer and the average person, science has shown us, is just 9%. 9% of your activities daily. The activities of those who are successful in any field, successful in their marriage, successful, and not everybody is successful in everything, but I believe it is possible. And that is my aim, to show you how to be successful in everything. The difference between those who have succeeded in one area and those who have not is only 9% of their activities. It's been curated, it's been calculated. It means nobody's success is as in any area is as far away from you achieving it. It's just 9% of tweaking, and you too can experience the same. A key aspect of that 9% is the ability to treat emotions as a weapon when necessary, emotions as a tool as necessary. I'm out of time. I hope you've been blessed. I really pray that you will pay attention to this. It will elevate you, it will secure you, it will protect you, it will put resources in your hands. Being emotionally intelligent, I forgot to say this, being emotionally intelligent enables you read a room. You will walk into a room and you will be able to read the room. It is what separates leaders from those who remain managers. Your ability to read a room. When you read a room right, you will then respond to the energies in the room accordingly, and you will be able to diffuse any wrong tension, or you will be able to stay and motivate the people. You want to grow as a leader, manage your emotions. If you learn to recognize your emotions and respond healthily, by default, you will be able to read the emotions of others, and by so doing, you will know how to motivate, you will know how to diffuse. I say to you, learn from the master here. Learn to use your emotions as a tool. This has been Tim Grage on Dawn. Like, share, and subscribe. If this is your first time, please subscribe, because I know the content is going to keep you blessed. Have a wonderful, fruitful, emotionally intelligent, by the Spirit of God day. I'll catch you tomorrow on Dawn. Bye for now.